It's our favorite time of the week again. Time for hashtag Rising Qs, where we get to answer your questions. Saagar, what is up first?
Number one, the parliamentarians said Joe Biden can have 2 more reconciliations this year. So the POTUS said the filibuster is off the table. If you got rid of the filibuster with a reconciliation, wouldn't that do away with the need for more reconciliations? I believe the answer to that question is yes.
So I'm not sure I understand it. So if you got rid of the filibuster for reconciliation?
I think what she's asking is, now that reconciliation is there, if you took away the filibuster, wouldn't you not need reconciliation?
Correct.
AKA,
Yes.
that would mean you'd only need 51 votes to pass anything. So yes, the answer to your question is correct. And reconciliation only needs 51 votes because of the way that the Budget Control Act or whatever governs Senate rules, which, again, this is all fake and it's made up. And they make their own rules. This only goes back to like 1970s. So.
And that's the whole thing. It's like, all of this is hinging on what the parliamentarian says.
Right.
Why are we doing this?
Right.
I mean, it's just all so silly. Even that Chuck Schumer came up with this scheme to try to get 3 reconciliations in the year instead of 2, and like hinged it all on whether the parliamentarian was going to go along with him, which she did, but like, why? This is not, the high priestess of the United States. She gives her advice, and you can decide to go with that or not go with that. And we also shouldn't forget, especially because they're leaning so heavily on what the parliamentarian decides, that budget reconciliation is a very limiting process. You can't do something like probably the PRO Act through reconciliation as one really significant example. So yeah, the fact that they take the filibuster off the table and are just going to do everything through reconciliation is fundamentally limiting.
That's right. All right, next question. What do we got?
Do you think if an outspoken progressive like Nina Turner wins House election, would you have a chance to convince House progressives to use the tools and power they have as representatives to push their interests the way King Mansion and Queen Cinema do? I am a big believer in the power of Nina Turner. And, I think there are a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, there are a few people who are well-intentioned, who actually, in my view, have a lot of the right goals and a lot of the right values, and I think they've had a very misguided approach. And there's been a lack of leadership in sort of keeping the squad together, keeping the actual progressives in the House and the Senate together so that they can wield their power. The House is now, Democrats hanging on to a thread of a margin there. It only takes a few votes for them to scuttle any potential legislation. I do actually believe having someone who truly has a backbone, who's truly, and this is the key, Nina is unafraid of taking the hate and the anger from the mainstream media because she's been facing it for years now. I do think that could make a difference in terms of these negotiations.
Certainly could. It's all, who knows? We've got 5 votes.
You saw it with the Tea Party.
No. I'm not saying it couldn't work. It's more like, is she going to do it? Look, this place changes people. I have no idea. If anybody were to stand up, it probably would be her. Will her own progressive colleagues, though, start to lobby her? It all gets very complicated, right? So we'll see.
All right, last question.
Last Q. What do we got? How do you see security in Washington, D.C. around the Capitol building shaping up at this point? Are the days of grade school field trips to D.C. over? Well, there's COVID, and the kids aren't even barely in school, so haven't seen them in a while. Honestly, so I've gone to Capitol Hill a couple of times. I've been once since the fencing went down, but it's still extraordinarily weird. There's just National Guardsmen hanging out just around like metro stations and more. And it just feels strange. In terms of the grade school kids being able to just go right up and touch the Capitol, I just think those days are gone. I haven't even seen the front of the White House in over a year because there's been fencing there around Lafayette Park and more for months. And it's just like, I think that's terrible. I came here when I was like 10 years old to go and take a picture or whatever in front of the White House. Even today, even before this, they had made it so you can't even go up to the fence. Now, I do fear that people aren't even going to understand and know what their nation's capital looks like.
I was looking back at when I was a kid, my parents took me to cherry blossoms, and we have this picture of me and my sisters posing with one of the cherry blossom trees. And I was trying to figure out where exactly it is. And it made me realize, actually, that was back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. You could get even closer to the White House than you could in recent. You could be, right there. And now, so then once they locked down security, increased security there, then the place that you went to like see it and take your picture was Lafayette Park,
right,
where you still could get a nice view of the White House. You could take a nice picture with your family and all of that. Now you can't get in there anymore. And I know these seem like small things, but I actually think Zed put it really well this week. He's like, you know, what kind of a sign does it send to the world that we're so afraid of our own citizens that you can't even have access to the places where the people's work is being done? It really is sad, and I do think it is a sad statement on this where the country is right now, that they're so, as Eleanor Holmes Norton put it, so afraid of their own shadow that they have to keep these permanent barriers in place, have essentially normalized like a military presence in the nation's capital. And it's a sad statement, and it's also a distressing normalization of a kind of police state in the nation's capital.
That's right.
Thank you guys for watching. More Rising for you later.